Welcome on this Super Bowl weekend. It's Saturday, folks, the day before the big game. But forget all that. We'll get to that. Welcome to OTR Sports, man, brought to you by Off the Record Podcast. Today's show is powered, of course, as always, by Crossover Media, your one-stop shop for podcasts full of sports and culture. Check them out on www.crossoverpodcast.com, www.crossoverpodcast.com. I got the squad. We full today, of course. We love it this way. What's up, team? How y'all doing? I'm gonna start with you, Quan. How you feeling, bro?
What's up, family? I'm good. Happy Saturday. It's always great to see everybody in the flesh, man, and getting a great episode in.
For sure. B, repping that G Boss. How you feeling, bro?
Feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
For sure. And then we got Alex, our resident NBA insider, Mr. Lakers Central. How you feeling, Alex?
I can't complain.
Yo, this 2 weeks in a row, you said your opening statement about the Lakers being number one.
I think we're tied for number two, man, in the West. But regardless, I mean, we are number one. You saw we just did the Jokic in Denver.
I did see that.
We made him look like we made him look like Big Country.
that third quarter was ill, but as always, OTR as a group, man, we're always busy, man, and we stay in the lab. And here's the latest thing we dropped for y'all. We on our Color Me Bad this week. As you see, Brandon got some extensions within the last.
I got the Jerry Rices, as Jansen said,
within the last week. So, of course, man, we have a lot of fun as we produce these shows for Off the Record and OTR Sports. So, man, we got a jam-packed show, as we always do. We're going to get a little bit of NBA in here before we get on the NFL. And I want to start with LeBron. A lot has happened since we last recorded. And one of the things that happened was LeBron had a run-in with what they call a courtside Karen. Here's a clip of what we first seen with the courtside Karen.
Well, all right.
Shout out to StreamYard.
Yeah, your 13-inch TV done froze, yo.
Shout out to
run that one back.
Shout out to StreamYard, who has sold us on this new feature they have where you can play the videos right from your stream, and of course it doesn't work.
Thanks, StreamYard.
Thank you, StreamYard. But anyway, so LeBron had a run-in with a young lady, supposed young lady. She claiming that she's 25 years old. People are questioning that. But a young lady and her husband were sitting courtside at the Lakers-Hawks game, and LeBron and her husband had words at first, but the part that made the news was courtside, as we know her now, affectionately as courtside Karen, getting into it with LeBron. Now, they had words, and the rumor has it is this is what LeBron told her.
Sit your dumb ass down.
That's the rumor, that LeBron told her to sit her dumb ass down, right? But I'm going to try this again and see if this works, because this is actually what LeBron said to her.
They're blaming these guys. That's a joke.
I'm highly upset with StreamYard. I'm just gonna say that it messed all my clips up. But anyway, so supposedly LeBron was beefing with the husband first, and afterwards LeBron told them to sit their asses down and shut the F up. She made it out to be that LeBron was being an a-hole to her the entire game, all of the above. So I'm gonna ask you guys, man, what do you think about the whole thing with courtside Karen and how LeBron handled this whole scenario, man? We'll start with you, Quan.
Man, courtside Karen should have sat her funky ass down and watched the game. I mean, it's just that simple. You jump up, that's what's going to happen. And it's at the same time, you know, she paid for her tickets. Well, she probably didn't pay for her tickets. Her husband probably paid for her tickets. But yo, know your place. Sit there, watch the game, and just be happy. Don't make it more than what it has to be. Don't make it more than what it has to be. And so she got shunned, and that's what happens. And she should have got her ass shunned.
What about you, B, man? Like, you think courtside Karen has a right to do what she did? She paid for her ticket, like Quan said, or her and her husband paid for their ticket to be there. We live in a world, a society where free speech is preached, and some people take it a little bit overboard. But do you think courtside Karen and her husband have the right to heckle LeBron James while he's playing basketball?
Yeah, I can't get past that clip that you just played, man. Like this, I've been trying to hold back from laughing since you played it. No, I don't think they don't have a right. Just because you pay for a ticket doesn't mean you have the right to harass somebody. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. It's courtside Karen. That name fits, man. That privilege kick in, and you know, people think that they can say anything they want to anybody. I mean, no. That clip that you played, sit your dumb ass down. I'm 100% with that. That's what I'd have to say to her.
Sit your dumb ass down.
So, Alex, you being a Lakers fan, man, you at Lakers Central, y'all cover the Lakers in and out, all day long. When you saw this happen, man, like, what was your thoughts? Did you think something was going to come out of this, like LeBron maybe being in some trouble or whatever? Like, you know how media likes to blow things up. Did you think, like, what were your thoughts when you saw this happen, and how do you feel about LeBron handling it? As well as I want your opinion on, do you think because these people pay for their tickets, that they have the right or they should be able to do what she did?
I watched it live when it happened, and I could see like the security, Hawk security going over and try to remove her and whoever she was with. I mean, look, man, tickets to Lakers games in no city, and any city they play at, is going to be expensive. Front row certainly is expensive. That doesn't mean that you can say whatever you want. Like, I mean, you can boo and cheer just like you do at anything, but like, there's always a point at which do you go too far? And they were clearly drinking, didn't have mask on. Like, she should have been escorted out the minute she took a mask off. Take your sip, put your mask back on. But she's sitting there like she's having brunch somewhere in the middle of the city. Like, she went too far. And the one thing about fans, and this typically happens with white fans, they think they can say whatever they want, and players aren't supposed to say anything back. We saw this, I think, either last season or a few seasons ago with Westbrook when he played against Utah, and a fan called him the N-word. Like, they think they can say whatever they want, and they think fans aren't supposed to respond. And apparently, it had really had nothing to do with her. Her husband and LeBron had some words, and she thought that she was going to stand up for her husband. The same husband who, when LeBron played for Cleveland and would visit Atlanta, has a history of posting things about LeBron, saying he doesn't like him. So they sit courtside. They're heckling LeBron specifically for a reason, because they don't like him for whatever reason. And they thought they could get away with it. And she thought that she could say whatever she wanted. And security walked her dumb ass out of there. And as far as I'm concerned, she shouldn't be allowed back for the rest of the season. But I know that I'm not in control of anything. So the Hawks are going to let her back in next time and whatever other game she wants to go to.
Yeah, man. So seeing this reminded me of that very situation you talked about with Westbrook. And I think Westbrook has had a couple run-ins with fans talking to him sideways. And other players, man. Vernon Maxwell, he's very, very vocal on Twitter about
he go hard.
How he dislikes Utah, and because he's had fans speak to him any kind of way while he was there. But it put me in mind of a situation that I witnessed in person when LeBron James was with the Miami Heat and they came to DC, and the person I was dating at the time was a huge Dwayne Wade fan. I was a LeBron fan. So we sprung a couple dollars to go see the Heat when they came to town. and we were sitting really pretty close. It wasn't on the floor. I haven't been able to experience that yet, but and there was a guy in the stands who was heckling LeBron, and LeBron was chopped. He was going back and forth with him like he was going with this lady's husband. But then the guy said something about his mom, and LeBron went over there like, yo, who the F you talking to? Like, I mean, like, was, on the like, yo, all right, you crossing the line, y'all whip your ass type shit. And that's when I'm like, yo, see, like, yo, it's okay. Like, you talking shit to these players, like LeBron said, they feed off of that type stuff. But I think they do cross the line, man, by talking about their moms or their kids, or, they take personal jabs at them. And I think that's when it goes overboard. And just because you pay a price, just like any of our jobs, 9 to 5, just because someone might pay for a service that we do, doesn't mean they can come into our job and talk to us any kind of way. And I think that goes with these players. I think for some reason, the narrative is that these players are fucking, I don't know, slaves, that because they're $1 million slaves, though, because they make millions of dollars and we pay hundreds of dollars to come and see them by choice, that we can talk to them any kind of way. And that is ridiculous. So as we all said, and as LeBron said, I'm with them. She need to do this.
Sit your dumb ass down.
They just had a fan just got thrown out, I think, against either Detroit or Cleveland. It might have been Cleveland. We played there a few weeks ago for talking shit to LeBron. Like, yo, like, they better hope one of these players don't hop in the stand like Artest did a decade ago.
Yeah.
Because then what?
That's why it happens, man. That's, it's these players are human too, man. Quan, you muted if you talking, bro.
Sorry about that. These like fans think because they make, like you said, millions of dollars, and because they're in the limelight and they're put on some particular pedestal when it comes to sports or entertainment, that they don't bleed, that they don't have feelings, they don't have emotions. And that's just anybody you come across. You say the wrong word,
it's on.
It's doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. And fans too, man. We all been to certain games. I know I've been to. It's like you just told your story, Mike. I've been to a Washington game where, I mean, fans are unruly. I mean, going off at each other to the point where some fans are liable to get there, to get crushed or get something that they don't want to happen to them. So at the end of the day, man, you got to watch who you're talking to.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. Shout out to Baylor on his sports show Open Run. He spoke on this, how these fans need to chill, man. Like, relax. Like, he almost basically said, like, they're corny for, like, if you go to a game for that purpose, like this guy tends to do, like, you corny. You know what I mean? And you like you said, you could talk smack to him. Bailey even said, like, when he played ball and on the away games, he loved more away games than he did home games. You know what I mean? And because he knew the fans was going to talk smack, and they thrive off of that. So, but once you go personal like that, it's a little corny, and you're overboard right there. But moving on, speaking of LeBron and keeping it on that subject, LeBron has spoken out about the All-Star game, and he's not feeling it. He doesn't think that it should happen, as well as a lot of other players are saying this. So I want to get you guys' opinion, because the interesting thing I found about this is LeBron and Chris Paul are pretty close. And Chris Paul is the president of the Players Union. And he seems to have signed off on this or want to do this. So, and I always thought that LeBron had some role in the union as well, but I could be mistaken. But to hear him speak out that he wasn't a fan of this, and knowing that him and CP3 are so close, what do you guys think about this, man? The All-Star game happening? Should it not happen? And do you think it says something about, I'm not gonna say anything about their relationship, but obviously they disagreed on this. So what do you guys think about the All-Star game? Should it happen, or should it just be, should they have the game and no fans, or should they just have like a skills event, like maybe the dunk contest, and it just be televised?
They
what
should
you guys
do
think
nothing.
about that?
They should. There's no reason to have the game, man. Nominate your all-star so that they can get their bonuses and their contracts. Having a game serves no point, because even if you put that game in a bubble at State Farm Arena, like they're planning to do, how do you then stop all the restaurants, clubs, and bars around it from advertising all-star parties and still doing the same thing All-Star Weekend does, and even when COVID's not happening? Like, what do you do with that? And in Georgia, we were talking about Florida before we came on the record. Georgia's just like it. People are doing whatever they want. I know they went blue this year, but it's still a red state. Like, you're gonna see a spike in cases because of this event. There is absolutely no reason to have it. And furthermore, the NBA now having all this contact tracing that they're doing. The incident with Kevin Durant the other night, where first they weren't going to let him play, then they let him play, then they pulled him in the middle of the game. Like, if you can't even get the regular season games and players in order, why do an all-star event and bring your top players together, your top 24 players together for a weekend, for them to then go back to their teams and families to do to possibly spread this shit if somebody happens to catch it during All-Star weekend? LeBron's come out against it. Giannis just said that he has zero energy for it. He echoes what LeBron said. So now you got your two biggest stars in the NBA saying, "What the hell are y'all doing?" That can't be a good look for the Players Association or for the NBA if your two biggest stars don't want to do it. Not to mention, what's to stop LeBron or Giannis from saying, "You know what? I think I want to rest an injury that weekend. I'm not going to show up." Like, it significantly hurts All-Star weekend, right? Because let's just be honest. I don't care how famous Luka is or Trey or James Harden. If LeBron doesn't show up, it ain't the same thing. If Giannis also doesn't show up, it ain't the same thing. If KD can't play, it ain't the same thing. So what's the point?
Yeah, I share the same sentiment with Alex. I just had basically two questions around this whole thing. Was basically, what is it that Chris Paul sees, in having an all-star game, especially like you said, you mentioned him having a close relationship with LeBron and he firsthand knowing the these players haven't had much rest since the last season, especially LeBron and them. So, I mean, if anybody can understand where these players are coming from, I mean, it would be a current player, as in Chris Paul. So I want to know why he sees the benefit in having the All-Star game. And then I want to know, if LeBron and them, they've come out, they've spoken, they're adamant that they don't want to do it, but they also said that they would physically attend. If you feel that strongly about not having it, just don't go. Don't go. It could be a player protest in a sense to not go. Now, maybe you'll be in breach of an agreement between the players using the league. I don't know the particulars behind that or what the consequences are, but I mean, what you're still going to be in the NBA. The season's still going to go on. They're not going to cancel the season because the players didn't want to show up to the All-Star game. So if you don't feel strongly about it, if you feel strongly about not having it, just don't go.
The only reason they're having this All-Star game is because, like a lot of teams like the Wizards have already missed a lot of games. They will not be allowed to make up those games at the end of the season. This is a way to try to make up for some of that lost revenue by having All-Star weekend. That's exactly what's going on.
What you think, Battle?
Well, yeah, that was going to be my my question. Is it going to be Is it going to be something to where if it's going to spike up anything that's COVID related, then no, it doesn't need to happen. And if they can have a situation to where they can all get paid, then let them get paid. But I mean, I don't really see the use for it. I don't see the use for the game.
We all know what happens at All-Star weekend. I said this the other day on another show, man. So you're going to have it in a black city where All-Star weekend is basically a ton of young black people coming together, partying, right? So if you already can't control COVID, even if you put the players in a bubble, you're going to bring a whole lot of people together. It's going to party maskless and hook up and spread this thing. Why do it? If you don't want fans to show up to kind of protect everybody, put that shit in like middle of Ohio or Wisconsin or somewhere where people are less likely to want to go to. Atlanta?
But see,
Come on, dog.
See, that's why you
But
know. But see, that's okay. That's how you know it's not just about playing basketball. You know that it's not just about, because if it really was, like you said, they could put that somewhere and
have it back at Disney World where nobody can come. Lock down Disney World again for the weekend.
Yeah, because I mean, you got players coming from all the teams into one COVID curated area, and then when that weekend's over, they're going all back to their teams.
Yep.
So you're potentially putting, at least, I don't know if a player from every team goes, but you're putting the majority of your league in jeopardy, in the weeks thereafter, in the days and weeks thereafter, having this. I don't know.
And you're putting your biggest ticket earners in jeopardy, right? Like the football, NFL might go on regardless if they've got superstars because it's more about the jersey. NBA don't go on without its superstar players. So if 3 or 4 of your top guys end up getting sick and having to miss a few weeks, that hurts the league's bottom line. Like, who watches games when the superstars aren't playing? Nobody.
Yeah.
Maybe Chris Paul is trying to tire LeBron out for his one of his last runs for a championship. I mean, that's
well, I was gonna say in Chris Paul's defense, like, one of his motivations behind this is some of the proceeds or the money that's, I don't know if it's the money that the players get or whatever, but I guess some type of stash of money will go to some HBCUs and
just an excuse
and things like that. So
they were going to originally have it on an HBCU campus that got shut down.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, we're going to give this money back to the black community in Atlanta. The NBA, its players and owners have enough money to stroke a check with an all-star game or not an all-star game. They don't need an all-star game to give a couple $1 million to a local black community. I agree.
And then I will also say that there is a clause in contracts that the NBA has over the players that they do have to participate in the All-Star
unless they're injured or resting an injury. Right. But also at the same time, because of this season and COVID, players are allowed to sit out and not be fined.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to extend that to the All-Star, but
well, even if that wasn't the case, I mean, we're talking about COVID. This is deadly. F an agreement. If I don't feel like this is a safe thing for me, my family, my business, or whatever, I'm not going to go, especially if I'm LeBron, and I'll just whatever the consequences are. I mean,
well, the league's not suspending LeBron. They might fine him, but they're not going to suspend LeBron James.
Right. Right. So I don't know. Just don't go.
But you know what's going to happen. You're going to see all these videos come out on social media of black people partying at the strip club, no mask on, rappers going down there. That's what we're going to end up seeing. And then it's going to become an even bigger story.
And
right. It was just a big thing about Lou Williams doing that shit last year in the bubble. He went to Atlanta to a strip club. Now you about to have an All-Star game down there. Like,
he don't make no sense. He just went to get the wings, dog. He just wanted to
get that. Did he go for pickup or did he order delivery? I bet he ordered pickup.
Oh, he definitely ordered pickup.
You know he got the tangy joints too with the Tangeray sauce on it. So,
you been to Magic City?
Back in my day, yeah.
All right.
But I don't know. An interesting thing, obviously, Atlanta is, I think, one of 9 cities that's allowing fans. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously, you pick Atlanta where it's warm, and you know people will travel there, and obviously they're allowing fans in the game. So, like you guys said, you can recoup that money. So, it's an interesting thing, man. I just find it to all your top players coming out and saying that they mentally won't be in the game. Typically, that turns into a horrible product. So we'll see how it turns out.
And Giannis literally said, I'm quoting him, "We got to all follow the big dog," as in LeBron James.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the power in LeBron. Yo, doesn't he? I thought he had a role within the players union.
He is one. I think he's one of the vice president. He was. I don't know if he is this season, but he was one of the VPs.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think Kyrie is now.
Kyrie is 6 VPs. Kyrie is one.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the other ones are right now off the top of my head, but yeah.
Okay.
And maybe they put it to a vote, and the majority of players were like, "Let's do it," even though the majority of players aren't all-stars.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. We'll see how it goes. But again, staying on the LeBron topic, man, this is something that I didn't tell you guys about, and now our pre-show meeting, because I wanted this to come off of the dome of what y'all think about this. But check this out, man. LeBron said, I think it was last week, he said, I don't get tired. I don't feel tired. I get my sleep. I get my rest. I have a lot of energy. So this made me think about also, let me go back. Then I think after the game against Denver, Draymond tweeted that LeBron continues to get better with age. Then Dwayne Wade said, this is the best I've seen LeBron play ever. So my question for you guys is this. Is LeBron getting better with age, yo? Like, I mean,
no, they smoking.
There's a few players, yo, that like can play on this level for this long at his age. And I mean, he's obviously doing it. Like, yo, he's still playing at a high level. He's 36 years old. Yo, I mean, what do y'all think, man? Like, is he getting better with age? I'm gonna start. Go ahead, Quan.
Let me. I just want to chime on this, right? And shout out and great respect to to Kobe Bryant, because as he got older, in my opinion, it wasn't so much of the I guess the natural physical gift or ability. Like, it seemed like he was more homed in on the game, and he knew how to play, and he knew the court, and he had longevity in his career, right, when he was playing. So I think LeBron James, I think that he has the physical gifts. I think he understands the mental aspect of the game. Honestly, I think LeBron could play for another 7 more years at the level that he's playing now. Maybe 8.
Sheesh. Damn. That'll make him what? 40
44.
44.
I think he could. I really think he could transcend. I think the way he takes care of himself from when he was playing, when he started to now, I mean, the money that he invests into his body and everything that he does, I think it's a method to his madness. So I mean, I think he can. I think he can really play at a quality level for the next 7 years, yo. I really do. I could be tripping, but
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, so B, like, do you think LeBron is getting better with age? Like, if you look at his stats, he hasn't really taken a huge dip in any statistical categories, and especially with the older he gets. So, and LeBron, we just talked about how LeBron is one of those players that typically for the last 10 years has taken deep runs into the playoffs. So he probably gets the least amount of rest than any player in this league, and he still plays at this level. So do you think LeBron is getting he's aging like a fine wine? Is he getting better with age?
I'll say yes. And tactically, I mean, the man's basketball IQ is obviously probably higher than a lot of the coaches. I mean, to be straight up honest with you, what could you really tell LeBron strategic wise? He knows everything his team is doing, and he knows everything the other team is doing. So I mean, he's shooting 40% from 3-point range. So he's a better outside shooter. I mean, he's tactically better. Of course, he's not. I mean, you can see here his average minutes per game. He's still averaging 33 minutes a game. But I mean, it's gone down throughout the years. Obviously, you're trying to manage the wear and tear on his body. I don't want to. I guess he's not as athletic as he used to be. Obviously, he's 36. Most 36-year-olds aren't as athletic as they were in their 20s. But outside of that, I mean, his knowledge of the game only expands. You can't stop him inside, outside. He's a great team defensive player. When he first started playing, it was a little bit different NBA than it is now. The NBA is a little bit more fast paced now, but It doesn't matter. LeBron is still the best player in the league. So from that sense, I'll say yes. He continues to get better. He ages like a fine wine. He's just not obviously he can't jump as high. But I mean, ain't nobody gonna stop him.
He still jumped damn high though.
Yeah, he still jumped high enough to dunk on anybody. You know what I'm saying? And to Quan's point of him playing 7 more years, I don't know how many more years he's got left, but I really think he's going to play as long as his body allows him to. And he's in great shape. And really, that's all opponents really have to bank on, is that eventually his body gives out on him. But he's one of the best at taking care of his body too. So yeah.
Alex, you've been itching to answer this one, man. He's on your squad. You know, obviously you witness him play at a high level night in and night out. Is LeBron better with age, man?
No. There's a point in everybody's athletic career, whether you play varsity or you play in NBA. There's a point where you get to your physical prime and your mental prime, and they intersect at the same time. LeBron is no longer in his physical prime. Now, mentally, here's the thing. Mentally, he's probably the smartest player in NBA, and his physical prime was so much higher than pretty much all of his contemporaries that even now that he's taken a couple steps back, and I was saying this other night to Vinay, you can clearly see he's not the same player, but the gap between him and like everybody else was so wide that taking a couple steps back for LeBron still means that he's better than everybody else. So his 3-point percentage is higher. His minutes are down. Like, all those things are true, but there was a window. I saw the same thing with Kobe Bryant. Like, there's a window, and generally it's like 2 to 4 years where your physical and your mental intersect, and you are just a terror. Like, just no one can do anything with you. For LeBron, I think it was those Miami years up until, the early years when he went back to Cleveland. And for Kobe, it was the middle of the years where like he was dropping 50 and 60 left and right. Like, you just couldn't do anything with him at that point. Like, LeBron, he's still physically, he's probably in like still the top percentile in NBA. Mentally, he's probably number 1. But I do see a lot of people saying like, is he better now than he ever was? And I'm like, no. It's just that like he's fallen down to earth a little bit, man. It's just that like whoever you consider to be like the next guy up, like KD or Giannis, as an example, his window, the gap between him and them is still like huge. And what's happened for LeBron is, and Dwayne Wade talks about this, Dwayne Wade said he believes that Anthony Davis is the perfect running mate for LeBron. And I believe that to be true. Like, all time, Dwayne Wade is the greatest teammate that LeBron has ever played with. But Anthony Davis is probably a more natural fit for LeBron's skill set, because when LeBron got to Miami, there was a lot of redundancy between he and Dwayne Wade's skills. AD and LeBron don't do the exact same thing. So now you're playing with a dude who's a young boy just entering his prime. That's obviously going to motivate you and extend you. Not to mention, LeBron's one of the few players that can literally afford to spend $2 million a year on his body as he does. Like, so he's got more physical gifts than everybody. He's smarter than everybody. He's got more money than everybody, where he can spend whatever it takes to do whatever he needs for his body. Like, he's not better. It's just that his greatness has been prolonged. And just like with Kobe, the year Kobe tore his Achilles, he was averaging 27, 5, and 5, pulling the Lakers to the playoffs that year. If he doesn't tear his Achilles, who knows how much longer he's able to average 25 plus points. So for LeBron, it's the same thing. But he ain't playing another 8 years. He's going to play until the end of this contract for 2 reasons. He wants to pass Kareem in a Laker jersey for most points scored, and he may want to see if he can play 1 year with Bronny. Aside from that, I think he's going to walk away, assuming no major injuries. He's going to walk away while he still looks better than everybody else. You're not going to see him average 5 points on the Wizards or no shit like that. Yeah, he's walking away.
I can't. If he still can be effective, he's not gonna play. He's not gonna play. But what?
So like,
go ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
And I know, right? I know we can't mix apples and oranges, right? So I mean, but this is OTR, so we can do what we want to do. So, I mean, I look at Frank Gore. Frank Gore's been playing for like 25 years, and he had three bionic knees, and I mean, he's still playing. He ain't playing at a high intensity, You know what I'm saying? He's not playing at a high level. I mean, he may be playing until his son gets in the league. It sounds like a freshman in college. So, but I mean,
LeBron's got a lot of stuff off the court too. He's got to start to tend to, right? Like,
yeah,
he ain't Frank. Like, there's probably not another athlete that has extended his prime this long. Like I said, the Achilles brought down Kobe in year 17, but like in any sport, there ain't nobody been this good this long.
So
Brady.
I was about to say, so
Brady not on the.
Tom Brady.
He's not better. So he's not better than Patrick Mahomes right now, right? He's not better than Aaron Rodgers right now,
We're about
right?
to find out tomorrow.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
but winning the Super Bowl, like he might win the Super Bowl. That doesn't mean he's better. Like LeBron still clearly is better than all the young boys 5 years younger than him.
Yeah,
clear.
absolutely. But it's clear. But Tom Brady's been to the Super Bowl 10 times.
Yeah, but see, it's different, right? Like Tom Brady can win the Super Bowl and still throw 2 interceptions and only 200 yards. In order for the Lakers to win, LeBron's got to be 30, 10, and 10 LeBron. Like and Tom Brady's excellence is longer than any other quarterback, but he's not. LeBron's excellence is in something completely different than Tom Brady's.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's damn amazing.
I would say Tom Brady from the sense of, age, still playing at a high level, and then, doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. I would compare the two in that regard. But I get what you're saying. Like, there are some young guns in the game that could be more talented physically than Brady is right now.
So if Brady has an average game in the Super Bowl, could the Bucs still win? If Brady has an average game, could the Bucs still win?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
What is average for Tom Brady this year in his career? Like what's an average stat line?
Okay, so if you're saying 200 yards, 2 touchdowns,
that's not going to win tomorrow.
Is that so? That's not so. How good does Tom Brady have to be to win? Because you can win it in football. You can win because it's so many other players on the field at the same time. You can still win.
Same thing about Mahomes. He's got to play great tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's got.
The point I'm making is that the Lakers can't win if LeBron isn't great, right? Like that's the point I'm making. Tom Brady probably doesn't need to be great.
I don't think
Bucs might still be able to win.
I think the Bucs. I think Tom Brady has to play out of his mind.
And I'm not even saying. I'm talking about like best player in the league, great. LeBron's still best player in the league, great. Brady ain't that.
Shit. I mean, but look when he left. I mean, look what he left when he left New England this year. Look how he was.
Tom Brady. I hate I'm going to argue this.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to argue with you. I get what you're saying, and believe me, I'm not arguing with you. Like I'm in total agreement with what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, he left New England and went to Tampa Bay in 1 year. Took these dudes to a Super Bowl. Like,
was Tampa Bay good before? Like, were they a playoff team before he got there? Were they good players before he got there?
They were a quarterback away.
They were 7-9. 7-9.
7-9. Okay, so that's
and they thought they were a quarterback away. So he went to a team that had enough pieces because he wasn't going to go to a bum team where he couldn't compete. Right? He went to a team where he knew he could put them over the top.
That and also who was going to pay his ass the money that he wanted for the 2 years.
Well, that was one of the big, like, what ifs. If someone can put him on that books and pay him that much money, well then he gonna go. And if they have a winning, or if they can get to a particular playoff or run. But I don't know I don't know if that team, the way they were constructed before he got there, you could guarantee saying that you add Tom Brady to that and they will be where they are now.
That's true.
Right.
They weren't. It wasn't like. That's true. I think they felt like he would definitely help them be a playoff team, but I don't think that they felt like, you plug a Brady here or Aaron Rodgers here, and we're going to the Super Bowl, because they had a lot of holes. I mean, I like Jameis Winston, but they just weren't a good team with him there. And you add Brady. When Brady signed there, I still was kind of like, I don't know. I thought they would be better, which they were. I wasn't seeing Super Bowl. And he's had to play lights out this last 4 weeks in the playoffs, all games on the road, to get them to where they are. So he's played well, and I think he has to play damn good tomorrow for them to win the game. But I do hear what you're saying, Alex. what your point is, there's no one in the league at LeBron's age right now. There's no one in the league that's better than him.
Yeah, that's better than him. Yeah.
Even though some would argue that some are trying to say KD is.
Are they smoking?
But
here's my thing. Okay. Will we all agree that winning in back-to-back championship runs, you can ask any great player who has had one, Jordan and all of them, can we agree that each championship, it gets a little bit harder than the one previous?
Of course.
So
if
I don't know, if the Lakers win this year, that to me, that means that they got better than they were last year, because teams are definitely gearing up for their asses.
You gotta get better, especially when you're on a repeat run. You not only have to get better talent wise, you have to get better mentally. Like that champagne, that champagne hangover has got to go quickly. Because some players do get caught up and get comfortable with the fact that, we won last year, we're gonna coast through this and we're gonna do it again. And I think LeBron is a player, just like Michael was, just like Tom Brady is, to keep the people around them focused so that they will get over that champagne hangover quickly, or doesn't lose focus of the prize, and that's winning another championship. But I do agree with you. It is harder to me each time. I mean, look at the NFL. We were discussing this with, I think I was discussing this with Daoud. You got teams like Atlanta, who was ascending to be a good team in this league. They get to the Super Bowl. They're winning the Super Bowl by multiple touchdowns, and they lose, and they haven't been right since. And also going to shout out to my man Jay Spence, the King. But with the Bills, there's people that's saying like, the Bills, they'll be right there. They'll be there next year. And
there's no guarantee.
It's no guarantee that you get back to that point. Yep. So it's the grind, like you said, Alex, is hard. And like you said, Brandon, the next championship is that much harder. So, man, good segment, fellas. Shout out to LeBron. I do think LeBron, I will say my little piece on that is, and you guys touched on it, but I think LeBron got better mentally. He's smarter. He's not as good physically, but it's like Michael Jordan, watching Michael. When Michael went from dunking on motherfuckers to then Michael going down to in the post, that turnaround jumper that couldn't be stopped. He outsmarted everybody when he couldn't do it physically. So I think LeBron
is more efficient in less minutes. He's putting up similar numbers that he did earlier in his career in less minutes. To me, that equals more production. And again, just because you're less physically enabled, which is not that far of a fall off for LeBron, as you mentioned earlier, Alex, but just being smarter and less athletic, you could still be a better player. That's just me.
Yeah, for sure.
He should have been MVP last year. He should be. I believe he's the leading MVP candidate this year. So I know people like Embiid and Jokic, but and people want to throw out KD, but I don't see how you give KD MVP when he's playing with two other stars. But LeBron, to me, looks like he's the MVP again.
I think LeBron should have won it. I think he should have won it last year, but we'll say that for another segment. So, fellas, before we move on from the NBA, I gotta ask my guys. I gotta ask my Knicks fan and my Lakers fan: are you guys still banded together this week, or has this gone to the wayside?
It's probably gone to the wayside. I don't even care about the Nets anymore. I'm trying to get off here so I can finish watching my Knicks, man. I like what we're doing this year. We clearly, it goes without saying, we're not as good as the Lakers, but I like the strides that we're making, and I think we're going to be a team to be reckoned with in the next 2-3 seasons.
What about you?
I haven't paid any attention to the Nets, man, other than like KD tweeting last night like a drunk man. Aside from that, I haven't paid much attention to the Nets. So, I mean,
Well, I want to move on to some NFL, and I know Alex isn't an NFL guy, but a couple of these topics I do want his opinion on. So as we know, Deshaun Watson has apparently asked for a trade from the Houston Texans, and of course, a number of people have voiced their opinion, and one person that in particular that voiced their opinion was Brett Favre, and this is what he said. You get paid a ton of money to do a certain job and just do it and let the chips fall where they may. I think we make too much money to voice an opinion, but I'm not saying he's wrong. Again, I think it's a different day and time, and it'll be interesting to see how the organization handles this. So, fellas,
What?
Can I-
Of
can I-
all people, of all people to have made that quote.
so again, fellas, people have voiced their opinion. So, of course, I want to hear you guys' opinion because I work with you guys.
You know, the thing about this. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Quan. Go ahead. All right,
about
go
the
ahead.
situation,
You ready?
man.
You ready? Go ahead.
It sounds very hypocritical coming from Brett Favre. Very, very hypocritical for one, because we all knew how he was when he got to a point in his career where they was trying to kick his ass out of Green Bay. And he fought, he kicked, he squirmed, he talked shit about the organization. He had everything to say. Okay. And then finally, when they bounced him out, you know, it was an issue. It was a problem, you know, and when the situation that was happening with him, it was nothing. It was nothing. You know, he showed his privilege. He went out, he said what he wanted to say, did everything, then went to the Vikings. Okay, I mean, trashed the organization after he left and went to the Vikings. So when it comes to Brett Favre and what he's saying, like, you know, trying to back up on his statements, it's like, yo, sit down and keep your mouth shut and stop telling other people about the first thing, you know. And the thing that what irritates me about what other people, we make a lot of money. We make a ton of money. Like, so what? So what? Because he makes a shit ton of money, that what he has to be quiet. He can't express.
Quan, hold on. I got you.
Sit your dumb ass down.
Thank you. He needs to sit his dumb ass down and keep his mouth shut. Because when he was doing it and when he was crying about it, it wasn't an issue. But now because a black man is crying about it and how he's getting treated and how he doesn't like being treated unfairly in his despair to whatever's going on in his organization, he's saying something about it and speaking on it. So what? He's making his money. So he has to just be the dancing fool and just get paid and just be cool with it. Nah. If he has something that he needs to speak his mind about, so what? He's getting paid for it. And he should be getting paid for it because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So Brett Favre, sit your dumb ass down.
Brandon, you've heard the statement from Brett Favre. Does he have a point at all? These guys are making a lot of money. You signed a commitment. A lot of these guys look at it as you signed this contract, so you have a commitment to fulfill. Does he have a point that Deshaun Watson should just see where the chips may fall?
No, because the organization doesn't run like that either, and they're also a part of that agreement. When they get ready to cut Deshaun Watson's ass, they'll let him go like he was yesterday's trash. So, you know, regardless, you know, of how much money you make, you know what I'm saying? They listen. Let's just rewind back to just I agree with everything Quan just said. Of all people, Brett Favre, who forced his way into Minnesota just so he could play the Packers twice. Like, this dude is the divas of divas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As far as, you know, forcing his way and wanting to trade and one thing, look, no. Brett, now maybe Brett Favre, you know, in these last few years has come to his senses and realized that he's grown to be a better person. But no, he should have kept, if anything, he should have kept his mouth shut on this situation. The same way he's saying that Deshaun Watson shouldn't be saying shit about his situation. So, you know, yeah, I agree. You can play that clip one more time if you got it. Sit your dumb ass down. That's what I feel.
Sit your dumb ass down.
So, Alex, man, you're not a football guy. You know, you gave football up a long time ago. And I got a quick story to tell about Alex and football too. Alex used to be a Vikings fan. He was a Randy Moss fan. And me and him was in the mall one day, and Brian Billick was in the mall, and I think Brian Billick had just won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. And this man, Alex, approached him and said, he questioned him on some play calls that he made with Randy Moss when he was in Minnesota. In this man's face. So he used to, so when we say he doesn't rock with the NFL no more, he used to, but that's how hard he used to go with it. But Alex, you keep your eye on situations like this and people speaking out in situations like this. So, what do you think, man? Does he have a contract? He has a contract. Is he binded to this contract? Should he wait and see how things go and play it out, or is Brett Favre tripping?
Man, is Brett Favre back on them pills? Because
that's somebody said in the chat.
Right.
Like, this is a scenario in which I don't know if Yahoo asked Brett Favre, like they solicited him for his opinion, or if he just offered to give it. Sit this one out, man. Just sit this one out, because it has nothing to do with you. Regardless of how much money a player is making, said player can complain. But that doesn't mean that said team has to trade him, right? Like, he has a right to say what he wants to say. It's been widely reported that the front office of the Texans hasn't talked to Deshaun about coaching, and they didn't go after some of the people that he wanted. Widely reported. So we already know about all that. So clearly there's an issue there. But look, all this really is like in basketball when they tell LeBron them shut up and dribble. It's just shut up and throw the ball. And you don't look. I like Brandon is a Giants fan. Like no one has talked anything about Eli forcing his way to the Giants, right? Like, I know it happened a long time ago, but it isn't like some of these white players. They do what they want to, and it just seems like it's always highlighted when it's the black player. I don't care if Deshaun's the highest paid quarterback. I don't know if he is or not. I think what's his name is Mahomes. Even if Deshaun was the highest paid quarterback in the league, he can say whatever he wants, especially when the team isn't doing what he wants. So, hey, Favre should have set this one out, because he when they wanted him to stick around and for him to mentor Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't having that. Like, he made it known he wasn't there to mentor Aaron Rodgers. So,
yeah.
Do you notice a pattern? We talked earlier in the segment how people sitting courtside, because they paid so much for the ticket and they have so much money, that they should be able to say whatever the hell they want to. But when a brother does it, man, you make too much money. But he wasn't saying that to the people last week or the week before on the short squeeze. All them folks, all them billionaires who lost all that money, they make all that money. What should they not have said shit either? That shit was in Congress like the next day. Like, why is it when a brother speak up, like you said, Quan, everything you had said earlier, it's just funny to me, yo.
It is. The minute that you speak up for yourself, the minute that you want to say and advocate for yourself, and you know that that's not right, but you go around and you see everybody else that is doing whatever they want to do, saying whatever they want to say, because they're privileged. The minute that you come out and say, "Yo, that's not right. I want something. This is what I expect. X, Y, Z. Blah, 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 blah." Oh, no, we he's getting a little bit too. He's asking for too much, and I don't know if we have that, and we can't. You can't do that. Like nah. If he feels adamant about something, man, go for yours. Get yours. I'm not trying to be in a whack situation where, you pay me a lot of money, but I have nobody to throw to. Well, I have nobody to run the ball. We can't win any games, So nah, I don't want to deal with it. You give me the money. Make sure that you're going to put the pieces in the place that I need to win games. And if you can't do that, get my ass out of town.
Well, I'll say this. I remember the days when, like you said, Alex, Brett Favre he made it clear he wasn't going to mentor Aaron Rodgers. I remember the days where he got upset with the team. He was doing his little holdout thing. He threatened to retire, all of that. He wasn't saying nothing when he forced team officials, ownership, and all of the above to charter a plane to Gulfport, Mississippi, where he resides, to talk his ass into play still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. There's other players, other quarterbacks that forced their way out of towns that had big contracts, Jay Cutlers and all of those guys. So, like y'all said,
it's always the Trump supporters too. Favre's a Trumper, Cutler's a Trumper.
Yeah. And you know what? Another thing that makes me think about this how come ain't nobody saying anything about Aaron Rodgers and his situation?
What you mean?
Because clearly he wants to be out of Green Bay. Now, he may not voice it and say, like, yo, I want out. You know what I'm saying? But you can see the writings on the wall. You can see clearly doesn't get wrong with the coach. You can clearly see when they went and drafted Jordan Love in the first round, and Aaron Rodgers was expressing that he wanted a quarterback. I mean, he wanted a wide receiver, or he wanted something for the offense. They went right ahead and got a quarterback to show him and tell him, like, yo, what you say means nothing. So, but when Aaron Rodgers in his situation, everybody's quiet about that. Everybody's like, yo, he needs to leave. He needs to go. He needs to go to San Fran. But when Deshaun Watson voices something about it, oh, no, you need to shut up and play ball.
Yeah.
You make too much money.
Well, the rumor is that the Texans are asking for a haul of players and draft picks. So it may or may not happen, right? But to have a little fun with this situation, this is how they say Deshaun Watson going to show up to camp if he's not traded. So,
Wow.
They say Deshaun Watson will show up at camp looking like James Harden showed up to the Rockets this year. So
That was genius, though. That was a genius.
Yo.
You look like one of the clumps.
So man, hopefully the brother gets moved. Man, and he gets his wishes. I for Brandon and Quan, man, I got a couple questions for you real quick. I want to be quick with this so we can move on. But just a couple of hypothetical trade scenarios for Watson, man. Would you guys, I want to get your opinion, would you guys do this? Do you think this is a good trade? If you were the 49ers, would you ship Nick Bosa and 2 first-round picks this year's and next year's for Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I would. If I'm the Niners, yeah, I would. I would definitely pull the trigger on that. Because for one, Nick Bosa, he's a Trump supporter. Get him out of there, and he talks too much shit. And I think he's underrated. And Deshaun Watson is clearly better than.
You think Nick Bosa is overrated?
Huh?
Overrated or underrated?
I'm sorry. No, I think he's a little bit overrated.
Ooh.
I think he's a little bit overrated.
Ooh.
Because he likes Trump or because he's overrated?
No, just because he flexes muscles and he talks too much shit, but he's not.
He can play that.
I mean, he ain't no Chase Young.
Ooh.
He ain't no Chase Young.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah,
I would rather have Chase Young.
Yeah. So I'm pulling the trigger on that.
What about you, Brandon? Would you do this one?
I'm going to say, I don't know, man. I'm gonna say, I'll just say yeah. I don't give a fuck about the San Francisco 49ers. Like,
if you were the 49ers, would you give up that haul to get a franchise quarterback?
I would for the immediate, yes. If because I think Deshaun Watson puts them closer to contending than Nick Bosa does. But then you're throwing in, future players. You don't know who those players could be. I mean, you're talking about 2 high draft picks. I mean, it's not like Nick Bosa is not a bum. He's one of the premier edge rushers in the league. So you're talking about giving a top 5 pass rusher in the league. And you don't know who those other 2 first-round picks are going to be. It could be a quarterback.
He's not a top 5 pass rusher.
All right. Well,
come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think immediate Deshaun Watson puts them closer, but I don't know. Long term, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd do that.
I'll do that, and I'll give you Jimmy's pretty ass. Okay? So you got a quarterback.
I know one scenario. I don't know if you're gonna post it, Mike, but Dan Orlovsky or whatever said the Giants should give up Daniel Jones.
I saw that.
Saquon Barkley. And 2 years worth of first round picks, or 2 or 3 years worth of first round picks for Deshaun Watson.
Oh wow!
I would not do that. I would not.
I saw that.
We have too many holes to fill for that to work.
I saw that and couldn't find it because I wanted to ask you that, but I couldn't find the picture of that. But I do got one. Speaking of Chase Young, Quan,
Ooh.
Would you give this haul up for now? Corn,
the tables have turned, darkness.
Corn, the question, the question here, Corn, is: would you rather have a franchise quarterback who's 23 years old? He'd come in instantly and change that offense around, and you know, probably lead y'all to deep playoff runs, or is a franchise pass rusher more important to a franchise? Now, when I first saw this deal, so I'm gonna change this up, Quan. I'm gonna take one of those. So take one of those first round picks off. So it would be Chase Young and two first round picks.
No. Why are you taking one off the board?
That's
Quan,
a lot, yo.
That is a lot.
That's a lot, B. That's 3 years of first round draft picks that I don't get back, and my best player on defense.
Your answer is no.
Nah, I'm not giving that up. Nah.
All right. So take one of the picks off. Would you rather have a franchise quarterback at the cost of your franchise DE, or would you rather have the franchise pass rusher? Derek says hell no.
Yeah, I'm not giving him up. There's no way I'm giving Chase Young up.
Okay.
No way.
Man, could you imagine Deshaun Watson with McLaurin?
Yeah.
You got a good running offensive line. You probably
yeah, it's nice, but we dropped him in the mix, and once we dropped him in the mix, we became the number 2 defense in the league.
Yeah, but you
had the number 2 worst record in the league as well. So I mean,
I feel like
what do you mean? We went to the playoffs. We didn't have the number 2 worst record in the league.
Well, I'm just talking shit at this point. But.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I feel like one of your strong suits is your defensive line. Now, like I said, Chase Young is a franchise one in the million type players, but I feel like Deshaun Watson is a franchise quarterback as well. So
I'll give you. You give me those two picks. I'll give you Jonathan Allen.
So Jonathan Allen and 2 first round picks for Deshaun, you would do.
Hell yeah, I'll get that up.
You had to get that. Yeah, if I was Houston, I'm gonna need all 3 of them picks.
I'll say, okay, so all 3 of those picks and Jonathan Allen.
Yeah,
and I get. I may have to go ahead and pull the trigger on that one. Then, yeah, I'll pull the trigger on that.
But Chase is off limits, no matter who it is.
I'm not giving up
if
Chase.
Green Bay calls you tomorrow and say, "Yo, we'll send A-Rod," we'll send A-Rod to you right now for Chase Young, you'd say no.
I would say no.
I would say no. Definitely, I definitely would say.
Okay, no. Pat Mahomes right now.
Yeah,
Chase Young.
Chase Young's ass out.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I'm taking Pat Mahomes on that one. Yeah.
The difference is this, and not to say Aaron Rodgers still isn't elite, but Patrick Mahomes has more years in his future, presumably, than Aaron Rodgers does. You know what I'm saying? I think we're a little bit more even with the future, you know, as far as a Chase Young and a Patrick Mahomes. But a Chase Young and Aaron Rodgers, I might not have Aaron Rodgers for no more than 1 or 2 seasons. No, I'm not giving up Chase Young for that.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Well, I wish I could have found the Giants one, but I couldn't. But Quan, I had to get you. So let's hope Deshaun doesn't show up to camp like this. Let's hope that he gets the trade and he does have to show up like James Harden, overweight, to force his way out. Now moving on, man, and this has to do a little bit with Deshaun Watson, and I wanted to bring Alex back on this subject as well. So, picture you see Eric Bieniemy, who's been the hottest coaching candidate, name, whatever you want to say, over the last 2-3 seasons. The only problem is he has not gotten a job yet. Now, this was a statement released by Andy Reid after Eric Bieniemy again was not hired. He said, "I was really hoping he would have an opportunity to take one of these jobs. I think he would be great for any number of teams that opened up and helped them win football games and also develop men into men." Tyreek Hill also released a statement on Eric Bieniemy. "I'm not a GM or anything, but I will say Coach Bieniemy has helped me a lot as a man, a player. It's very shocking that he didn't get a job. His time will come." So the question to you guys, man, it's clearly and even Goodell came out and released a statement that NFL isn't happy with the lack of black hired coaches this year. So a question for you guys is this, man. How is it possible for this man to be the hottest name in football as an offensive coordinator, being a part of the hottest offense in the league for the last 3 years or so, calling plays, even though people question that. They say he don't call all the plays. Andy Reid calls the play, whatever, right? How is it that this man has not gotten a job yet? What's going on? What is going on that's kept this man from getting a job? The quick answer for some people is, yo, he must be a bad interviewer or he must be asking for too much. But I want you guys' opinion. Quan, why is there a lack of black coaches in the NFL? And why hasn't Eric Bieniemy gotten a job after being the hottest name in football as a coordinator for at least the last 2 seasons?
I think for one, when it comes to being a black man and a particular coach in the NFL, I think it's certain guidelines that you have to, I guess, maybe step over for you to be in the good old boy circle. And so if you're in the good old boy circle, then yeah, you know, it's all in who you know. It's all in, you know, whoever put you in position to do whatever, you know, you want to do, particularly for the NFL. And to actually give a black man that position is power. And some people just don't want black men to have that particular power. And if you can see in the NFL, if that's the case, then they will be hiring a lot more black men to put those in those positions. Now with Eric Bieniemy, I don't know, man. He's a very interesting. It seems like he's a very interesting guy. Even when he played football in college, even when he played in the NFL, and now particularly to this situation. And we've talked about this situation with him before, and it just to have that much knowledge of the game, for people to come out and actually speak on his behalf and say what a great guy he is and how he's changed lives, how he's taught men how to be men. It's clear as day. You can see everybody has their transition. Everybody has their testimonies. Everybody has their trials and tribulations. But you actually see young men that have actually came out to him. I mean, to the NFL or to other people and said, like this man right here has changed my life, and he's taught me what it is to become a better man. Andy Reid has came out on numerous occasions for him and have said, yo, this man can really change an organization. Give him a chance. We all know that. We all know that he's knowledgeable of the game. His resume speaks for itself. But to not even have him as a head coach, it's just I don't know what to say about it. It makes me want to kind of do more history on Eric Bieniemy, because it just doesn't make sense to me. It just does not make sense to me on why this man will not get a chance. Why they won't give him a chance. Like I just don't get it. And it's sad that, you know, he has to wait and he has to be leapfrog from other coaches, other people, other players, and I mean other men that are in the good old boy circle, and because of who they know, they can get a head coaching job and get that opportunity. But yet this man has to win more football games. He has to stay on the coaching staff. You know, he's not able to break off and be the man that he needs to be and cement his legacy in the NFL the way that he wants to do it. So to me, it just does not make sense. It really does not make sense as to why he's not being provided this opportunity. It's sad. In the NFL, I mean, they ought to hold themselves accountable for that. They ought to hold themselves accountable for that, because this man clearly knows what he's doing. And at the end of the day, you still don't want to give him a chance. You still don't want to provide him an opportunity. That's just sickening on the NFL's part. But I mean, as far as him as a person, and I think what he brings to the table as a man, coaching, I mean, he's an interesting, he seems like the person, what he brings to the table is very interesting. And me personally, I just want to learn more about him.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that he's a Super Bowl winning coordinator as well. And he's going back to another Super Bowl. So that just add more gasoline to this fire. So Brandon, Same question for you, man. What's why is there a lack of black coaches in this league, and how can a man be the hottest name in football and not have a job?
Well, there's a lack of black coaches in football, and we spoke about this before. I think it largely has to do with just the fact that people do business with folks that they're comfortable with or that they like. And because we've been underrepresented so long in these positions, and especially the positions above the positions that we're going for now as black folks in the NFL, we're not getting selected. As far as Eric Bieniemy is concerned, I'm hoping he hasn't been selected for a coaching job yet. I'm hoping that it's because he's still coaching right now. I don't know. Have all the positions been filled? I don't know if there's still any open positions.
Nah,
all of them have been filled.
Yeah, and because of, not to cut you off, but because of COVID, they were able to interview all interviews were conducted via Zoom or whatever. So he was able to still interview while working.
I mean, other than the reason that he's black, or I don't know what his interview sounded. There are obviously factors in his evaluation that are weighing more heavily in his circumstance than they are in others, as far as reasons for not hiring him. I think a couple of them could be, or a couple of excuses that these GMs can fall back on is, they don't think he calls the plays, which you mentioned before, and the fact that he has Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Kelsey, maybe that could be working against them, but that doesn't work against any other coach. Whether they had talent or not. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Can somebody else tell me other than he's black? I don't know why nobody's hiring him. I don't know.
Alex, again, man, these are the type of topics that you touch on when it comes to the NFL, man. So I want your opinion on this. One,
yeah, y'all.
What's up with this lack of black coaches in the NFL? And then again, the Super Bowl winning coach, hottest name as far as coordinators for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and he's been passed up. Now, I think there were 7 openings this year. There's a handful of openings last year and a handful of openings the year before, and he didn't get any. So what's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I'm not going to overcomplicate it. The NFL doesn't want black coaches. That's it. Like, let's assume he's a bad interviewer. Like, he just doesn't interview great. Well, so what? If his on the field product is great, then I don't care if he can't speak in an interview. He clearly knows how to coach. But this has been an issue the NFL has had for a long time. So for Roger Goodell to come out and say that they're disappointed in the lack of black coaches, well, you're Roger Goodell. Get all 30 owners on the phone, or all 30 GMs, and find out what's going on and look into their hiring practices like you would any other organization that has a lack of black people working there. That's really simple, man. So I'm not going to overcomplicate it. It is because he's black. The idea that somebody would say, well, he doesn't call the plays, so that's the reason. Like, that is built in the idea that, like, well, this black person doesn't do this, or they're not smart enough to do this, or the black quarterback's not smart enough to do that. Like, that's all that's steeped in. So, yeah, I mean, it's because he's black.
The interesting thing about this, it's almost like it hampers guys like this who are obviously talented coaches. Another guy that I want to mention is Byron Leftwich. He's getting the same tag. He's working with a great offensive mind in Bruce Arians, and he doesn't call all the plays. It's almost like these people are faulted because their mentors are considered to be great at what they do, right? And it's like that hurts them. But in any other case, now check this out. in New England, Belichick is considered the greatest coach of all time.
And his coaching tree is whack.
His coaching tree is whack, but yet because of him being the mentor or whatever they say he is, people poach from his coaching tree or his assistants all the time.
I was thinking that.
But
Yep.
you get Andy Reid, who's again Super Bowl winning coach, considered to be a great offensive mind. His coaching tree is great, even though he won his first championship last year. But his coaching tree is great. But the black assistant, his offensive coordinator, the guy he mentors, they question on if he calling the plays or not. But before Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator, was a white guy. They didn't question if he called the plays or not. The coach for the Chicago Bears right now worked under Andy Reid and got a job.
Sean McVay, that was with the Washington football team. He wasn't even calling the plays and got a head coaching job with the Rams. And how old is he? He's our age. No, he's younger than us. I'm sorry, he's younger than us. So if he can go from Washington and go to the Rams and they can give him a full shot head coaching position, what's the difference?
So that's the part, and I agree with you, Alex. Even if he is a bad interviewer, you see what he does on the field. Clearly he can coach football. So it's a problem, man. It's a problem. And the fact that they jump to he's not a good interviewer or he's not calling all the plays, and that's the first thing you jump to. That's just, I don't know, man. It's something to that. And the problem is Goodell. To me, he's
also the only one out of all the coaches that they're interviewing. He's still coaching.
Yeah, like
he got shit to do.
And he could still add another championship to his resume. He still has a chance to do that. And will go until next season without a job. So it's very interesting. I'm perplexed by it, just like the rest of you are. And I guess, Alex put it best, man. Like, why oversimplify? Why make this thing? Why overthink it? You know what I mean? Like it's just as simply as Alex put it. Ownership. They aren't feeling that aspect of the game.
Think about it like this. How often do we see these teams, like they're going to fire their head coach, right? And as soon as they fire their head coach, it already leaks who they've been who their primary choice is, right? Like it's not even like you fire your coach and then you interview 5 people. You fire your coach and then like you're the top name associated with your list, you're already talking to. Mm-hmm. What that tells me is these white coaches are going behind, like white assistants or head coaches, when they're behind the scenes, they're talking to new teams. They're using backwater channels. They're part of the good old boy network. They're part of a network in which, just like in the corporate world, black people don't have those same connections. So clearly these coaches are already talking to owners and GMs of other teams. That's why it's so quick for these teams who fire a coach. It is to replace them. That's what's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's not supposed to be happening.
You do business with folks you like and you're comfortable with.
And I'll add to that, you do business with people that look like you. Like that's
basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what's going on. So it's easy. It's really simple for Goodell to go find out who they've been talking to. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to. So
you hit them pockets the right way. You hit them pockets the right way, then he'll be finding out and to see what's going on, because that's how you can get
forget the pockets. Hit him with take a draft pick. Because billionaires don't care about no $500,000 fine. Yeah. Take a draft pick and then see what happens.
Well, they try. We talked about this last time we filmed the show. They trying to entice teams by, if you hire a minority candidate, that team will get some draft compensation.
Think about the state of your league when you've got to incent with draft compensation to hire minorities.
Yeah.
What does that say, yo? That tells you have a problem.
Yeah.
A big problem.
Yeah, don't reward them because don't reward people who do the right thing. Like punish people who don't do the right thing. That's what they should be doing. Snatch some draft picks.
Yeah,
They switch
well,
up real quick.
It's
I mean,
draft picks.
it's interesting. Go ahead, Alex.
I'm just like, you brought up Belichick, man. Like how many of his head coaches have gotten head coaching jobs either in the pros or in college? And they get a job, they get fired, they get a new job. They get fired, they get a new job. Belichick has one of the wackest coaching of all the great coaches. He might have the worst coaching tree. Like, I'm serious.
His tree.
No,
his
I
tree
can't
is
even.
bad.
It's crazy because I can't even think of who came out of his tree. Like honestly,
I mean, well, you know,
Brian
I
Weiss?
like so far. I like Joe Judge.
Romeo, Cornell, and those
Weiss?
guys. Yeah.
Well, who was the slim dude that went to Detroit? Was it Detroit?
Yeah.
Caldwell? No.
Damn.
Jim Schwartz.
Mike.
Nah, the slim white dude.
Yeah, Mike
Slim
Schwartz.
White?
No, you mean the fat
one-
white dude.
You mean the fat
Wait,
white?
there's
The
another
one that just got fired.
You
Yeah.
talking
Who
about
was the
Patricia.
quarterback's coach?
Matt Patricia.
Patricia, but who was the quarterback coach of New England when Brady was like in his
Oh,
McDaniel.
Josh
McDaniels got.
McDaniels.
Didn't he go? He went to Denver, right?
With
He went to
Denver.
Denver and he's
no,
back in New England.
But you know now, like Holly, he's the number one like offensive coordinator now. Like every
But see, that's my point.
I don't
He was
get
whack in
why.
Denver.
Yeah, he was whack, and he's still whack. I do not understand why, yo. For the love of God,
That's my
people
point.
keep talking about McDaniels like he's such this guru offensive coordinator, yo. I don't see it with him.
See,
I don't.
that's
see it with
my
him.
point. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
But you don't give Bieniemy a chance. But McDaniels, yo, who's proven that he's whack. He's whack.
Let alone be a black coach who gets an opportunity and you fail. You ain't never getting a second opportunity. You done.
Yeah. Look at
You're
Jim
done
Caldwell.
at that point.
And I also think Jim Caldwell was an all right coach, but look at him. I mean, he went to Detroit.
You get short even if you do get hired, you get short leashes. You're frequently given opportunities, probably the worst coaching opportunity of them all. For instance, Robert Saleh, the first Muslim head coach, he went to the Jets. Man, that's probably the worst. It was probably the worst job of them all.
How many jobs did Denny Green get after he coached the greatest offense of all time in Minnesota? How many teams did he get after that?
One.
Two. One.
Now you got one. Arizona.
Yeah.
They are who we thought they were.
So check this out. This is the Hoodies coaching tree. Romeo Cornell.
Whack. And he's black, but he wasn't good.
Romeo's a good defensive coordinator. He might not have.
I'm saying like head coach. I'm talking about
head coach.
Head coach.
Okay. Here he was. Here's his record as a coach. So he got the Cleveland Browns job. He was there for 3 years. He was 24-40. He was the interim coach in Kansas City when Todd Haley got fired. He was 4-15. And then when he was the interim coach for the Texans, he was 4-3. Eric Mangini.
Whack.
Oh.
Maybe they were calling him the man genius.
The man genius. He ain't even did shit, and he was the man genius. He was whack.
Jim Schwartz, Josh McDaniel,
Whack.
Bill O'Brien,
Whack.
Matt Patricia,
Whack.
Brian Flores is doing well.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, Brian Flores is doing well.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No. That's dude from Miami. My bad.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Doing
Joe
good.
Joe Judge.
Whack. I'm sorry, Peachy. I know you like him. Whack.
And that's
whack.
now he does, from his early days, he did have Algro and Nick Saban. Nick Saban was on his staff when he was in Cleveland.
I can't say anything about Saban.
Yeah,
Nick Saban quit like after week 4. It was like, nah.
Yeah, Saban. Now, Saban's a whack pro coach.
Well, yeah, whack. Yeah,
He quickly was like, nah, this ain't for me. I'm going back to college.
I can't handle these dudes.
This ain't for me.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to pull up Andy Reid's coaching tree. Andy Reid's coaching tree is pretty sick. Let's see.
What? Drop them names, Parker.
All right, so Andy Reid has if the joint will come up, Sean McDermott, who is now currently the Buffalo
Okay.
Bills coach,
Mm-hmm.
John Harbaugh,
Mm-hmm.
Matt Nagy, who
Oh,
I
He's
brought
all
him up as the Bears coach, but it wasn't no questions on whether he was calling plays.
Right.
But anyway, he got a job. Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning coach.
Dougie. All right. Okay.
Ron Rivera,
Ronnie.
Oh,
Riverboat.
Todd Bowles,
I like Todd, but he's
a coordinator for the Bucks.
yeah,
Pat-
but he hasn't done well as a head coach.
Pat
What-
Shermer,
Pat Shermer.
I didn't like him as a Giants head coach.
He was y'all guy.
Leslie
I don't know.
Frazier,
I'm always big on
Leslie was interviewing for a head coaching job. I don't think he got one. I don't think he's ever got one. He's been interviewing for a head coach job for a minute.
Head coach. He's
no,
the
he
head
was.
coach.
Yeah, he used to coach the Vikings.
Yeah.
Steve
right, he did.
Steve Spagnuolo,
Spagnuolo. He was
As
the
a
head
head
coach.
coach?
He was the head coach for the Rams when they had Sam Bradford and they were whack.
Brad
Yeah, that
Childress,
was- yeah.
and Brad Childress. That's his coaching tree. Of his
That's a
coaching
solid
tree,
coaching tree.
shit, he got 2 Super Bowls. 2 of his guys got Super Bowls. So I think that's pretty.
It's better than Belichick's.
That's pretty stout. That's a pretty solid class. But I do want to point out before we move on, Bruce Arians' coaching staff. Bruce Arians has the blackest coaching staff probably in the history of the NFL. So shout out to Bruce Arians, man, and hopefully some of those guys, Byron Leftwich, Todd Bowles, who is coaching up the defense. Hopefully he gets another shot. And then back to Eric Bieniemy, man. Like, I just think that it's crazy that this brother. I mean, you've heard his name. It's crazy, yo. You hear his name all regular season. Oh man, Bieniemy, he's gonna get a job. And then when it comes down to giving the brother a job, he don't get it. So interesting subject, man, and good segment, fellas. So quickly, man, I wanted to run because we ran a little late with that. We obviously got to talk about the Super Bowl tomorrow, the big game. We got Tampa Tom and the boys actually playing a home game for the first time ever. There will be a team playing at their home stadium in the Super Bowl versus Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, man. Let's just quickly, Brandon and Quan, man, let's talk about their run to the championship. What your thoughts are on each team, and then of course, man, we're going to end that with a prediction, man. So, Quan, man, first of all, are these the 2 teams that you expected to see in the big game? And if it wasn't, how do you feel about the teams in there and run to get there and get where they are and playing for the championship tomorrow?
Yeah, well, you saw Kansas City from last year. They were gonna go back to the Super Bowl. You already knew that. Tampa Bay, you didn't really see it maybe until maybe week 6, week 7 that they had a real strong chance of being contenders to go to the Super Bowl. And I mean, you just knew once it clicked for them, it clicked. So two great teams, balanced on each end, offense, defense, special teams. They got home hitters. They got heavy run home hitters, offensive receivers, running backs. They're both stacked. They're both stacked. It's going to be a really, really great game to see Patrick Mahomes come back and do it. Maybe again, I don't know. We're going to see, because just like we just talked about early in the segment, to win a Super Bowl back to back, it's damn hard. It is hard. So, hey, look, my hats off to both of those teams. You kind of saw it coming with Tampa Bay once they once they clicked, once they started getting that offense rolling, that defense came in. They ended out being the number 6 ranked defense. I mean, all across the board, they're stacked. So if anybody has a chance to actually put up some great numbers and put up a solid battle against Kansas City tomorrow, this is the team too. This is the team to actually do it. So I'm not gonna get my prediction yet, but it's on both ends. They're balanced. It's gonna be a great football game in my eyes. I really think they're really gonna show out on both ends.
So Quan, let me ask you before I move to Brandon. You had Kansas City going in this, being in the Super Bowl this year. What was the other team from the NFC that you thought would be there?
Honestly, I thought Green Bay was going to go back.
Mm.
I thought the way Green Bay was built, I thought the way they built that defense within these 2 years within the draft, not them picking that number 1 draft pick with Jordan Love, but with them going to get those corners. I think it was Josh Johnson, Javier Alexander, building up that defensive back front, as well as going, getting pieces from free agency with Darius Smith and Preston Smith on the other side, building up that defense. I thought they were really going to make a run to go into the Super Bowl. So that's who I had. I had Green Bay going to the Super Bowl this year out of the NFC. And like I said, once you saw within week 6, week 7, you kind of knew Tampa Bay was going to kind of take the wheels. But I had Green Bay.
Brandon, so what's your thoughts, man, of the two teams in the Super Bowl? Give you a little take on their run to make it to the championship. And are these the teams that you had predicted to go? And if not, what were the teams that you had that you chose or you thought would make the Super Bowl?
Well, I think it's going to be a spectacular game tomorrow. I'm hoping that it's high scoring, but both teams have decent defenses, and they both have explosive offenses. So I think it's going to be a great game. Even if one team falls behind by 2 or more possessions early, that game ain't over. I mean, you go into the fourth quarter, if any one of those teams are down 3 possessions, I'm still watching, because when Mahomes or Brady, you just don't know. You just don't know. Kansas City, pick them throughout the whole year. Did any of us pick against them one time? So I figured Kansas City was my favorite all year to go from the AFC. From the NFC, I mean, I thought it was wide open. Obviously, with Tampa Bay signing Tom Brady, they were obviously one of the folks that people thought were going to go. I thought it could have been any one of 4 teams from the NFC. I thought Seattle at the beginning of the year had a really good chance of going. Russell Wilson was having an MVP type season. And I didn't expect Seattle's defense to be as bad as it was. Green Bay, obviously, and I think the other team was possibly the Saints. But other than that, the year pretty much panned out the way I thought it was. I think it'll be a great game tomorrow. I can't wait to see what happens, man.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. We didn't, like you said before, none of us bet against Kansas City. I did think, if my team would have got to the AFC Championship game, I did predict them to beat Kansas City in that game. But again, it's hard to bet against Kansas City. Once you get Tom in the playoffs, man, it's hard to bet against him. And I kept saying that this whole time, like, man, it's just hard to bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs. I didn't have Tampa there. I was thinking so I started the season off thinking the Saints would make it. Thinking Drew Brees would make another run before he cracked 1,000,000 ribs. Then after that, I thought, okay, this is Green Bay's year to make a run. So I wasn't expecting Tampa, but I think Tampa, the way they played in the playoffs, 3 road games, they balled out and they did what they had to do. So obviously they deserve to be there, and I do think it'll be a good game. So we'll see, man. I think the product on the field will probably be one of the better Super Bowls that we've seen in a long time. Now, I might not have the same excitement as the Giants and the David Terrell, beating the Patriots, the 15-0 Patriots, or catching the ball on the side of his helmet. It might not have that same excitement, but I think that it'll be high scoring, and I think it'll be a fun game to watch. So, of course, we at that point where we got to make predictions, fellas. So, who wants to go first? Typically, I start with you, Quan. You wanna go first, or you want to give it to Brandon?
I want to give it to my brother Brandon.
All right. So, Brandon. We got. Hold on. Let me do it like I traditionally do it. Hold on. I'm slacking a little bit. Give me a second. Alex, you gonna get in on this prediction or what, man?
Come on, Sweet Jones, get up in here.
Man, I don't care who wins. I don't even know if I'll watch. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in a long time. What time is the game?
That's what I'm trying to pull up now.
It's probably like 7. It's over. I think 7 or 8.
What's tomorrow?
6.
Sunday?
If it say 6:30, it probably start at like 7:15. You know, you got like 45 minutes of pregame shit. I hate that shit. Just play the damn game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the pregame. You got
Commercials,
commercials. You got concerts and all that.
all that shit.
So Brandon, I'm gonna go with you, man. You got Kansas City. Kansas City is actually listed as the home team, even though Tampa is at home. You got the Chiefs in Tampa, man. Chiefs traveling to Tampa to face Tampa Bay at 6:30 kickoff, man. Who you got?
All right, sorry, I had to let the guy ride by on his moped or whatever the hell he was riding.
Be more. That's be more, baby.
All these damn dogs barking. You know what, man? If there was a team that I think that could beat Tampa in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady at quarterback, it would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Shit, man. I don't know. I'm gonna say Tampa. And I'm gonna say Tampa 38-34. Here's why. They got JPP. You know, I'm a JPP fan from his time with the Giants. Him and Shaquille Barrett, they know the recipe. They know the recipe of beating high quality quarterbacks. I know Tom Brady is lucky that JPP is on his team this time, but I think they put some pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and they're able to squeak it out. 38-34, Tampa.
Okay, 38-34. Quan, same question to you, man. Who you got? The big game, the brawl for it all. Super Bowl, man. What's your pick?
You know what I'm going with. 31-28, Tampa.
Tampa, okay.
Tampa's going to take it. And I'm going to tell you why Tampa's going to take it, because they hotter. They the hotter team. Where they've had to go from a wild card to get to this point, most teams that play like that, and when they come in hot, they steamroll. And look, great shout out to the Chiefs. They're a great team. It's hard to win it back to back. I'm not going to say that they can't do it. I'm not going to say they can't be achieved, but I think Tampa wins it. They're coming to Tampa, even though you said they're considered to be the home team. They're coming to Tampa. It's going to be, it's going to be a good game. I think Tampa's going to win it. I want Bruce Arians to win it, just from knowing his story and seeing how far he's came as a coach, all black coaching staff. Byron Leftwich, I'm always a big fan of him. So I want Tampa to win it. I think they're gonna take it. Defense is good, offense is good. Mike Evans is playing. Leonard Fournette is running. He's steamrolling. It's gonna be hard to stop that.
Okay. Alex, give us one, man. Your first one of the year. It's probably your only one.
I don't care for either team. Mahomes, because he's, maybe he's one of us. I don't know. He goes back and forth. I can't tell.
I'm not black. I'm OJ. Okay.
It's hard to tell. He rides the fence sometimes, but I'm damn sure not going for Brady. So I honestly don't care.
It sounds like you're going with KC, so we'll put you down for KC.
He's he called himself black, right? When he says he's black.
He's been on that. He's been on that movement for the start.
He was in the Black Lives Matter commercial.
Yeah.
If one black quarterback does good, that potentially opens the door for other black quarterbacks later on. So, but Andy Reid's a Trump supporter. See, I can't. I don't have. I can't.
Well, we're tempted to get a prediction from Alex for the first time. all season, and it still didn't work. So I'm gonna say this: all playoff long, I've been saying it's hard to bet against Tampa Tom and Kansas City. Both of their tackles will not be in the game. Mahomes is playing with a little touch of turf toe. Their running back isn't 100% healthy. So it's a lot of factors against Kansas City. And then, of course, on the other side, you have Tom Brady, who some call the GOAT, the greatest of all time. With all that said, I'm going with Kansas City. I'm not. This is going to be the one game.
That was a
I'm
nice
betting.
setup.
I'm betting against I'm betting against Tampa Tom. I think Kansas City will have just a little too much firepower for that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go Kansas City 34, Tampa Bay 28. And it's gonna be a good game. It's going to be a good game. I do think Tampa Bay will touch Mahomes up a little bit, especially early on in the game. But I do think Bieniemy will make, and Andy will make some adjustments. Maybe get Mahomes rolling out a little bit more, getting the offense on the move. And I think it'll just be a little bit too much for Tampa Bay. But either way, man, like I do want Bruce Arians to get one, and I do want that coaching staff that he has to get one. And I want Bieniemy to get one. Another one. So either way, man, I'd be okay with it. But I'm picking Kansas City. And our guy, Derek Jordan, he's going with Tampa 31-20. So he got Tampa kind of winning so that's 11 points, man. I call that a halfway in a game like this. I call that a blowout in a sense. So you shutting the team down, especially a Kansas City like that. So yeah, I mean, either way, you can't. I see both sides of people's choices. Tampa Bay is hot, like you said, Quan. That defense, man, what they did at A-Rod was they sacked him 6 times. So it's a recipe. It's setting up now with Mahomes tackles being out, both of them. It's a recipe for it to be similar, for him to get touched up like Aaron Rodgers did. But I just think the adjustments will be made to offset that. So, and of course, man, as we get to the end of the show, unfortunately, we lost another we gonna call Hall of Fame coach. Man, we lost John Chaney. I think it was last week or so. Obviously, a lot of people have been playing the clip of him about to attack John Calipari once they got into it at the press conference after the game. And what a lot of people don't know is those two, after that very moment, became the best of friends. So it wasn't no beef after that. But I remember those Temple teams, man. They played doggy defense. The Eddie Joneses and those guys, man. So you guys want to share anything about John Chaney and any memories you have of him coaching and any respects you want to pay to the guy?
Just want to give my condolences and just thank him for what he brought to the world of basketball and for all the black men. And may he rest in heaven.
Right. Same thing. I share the same sentiment. Rest in peace, John Chaney, one of the great coaches in college basketball. Back when I actually used to watch college basketball, he did a lot for the game, and he paved the way for other black coaches behind him. So rest in peace, John Chaney. Thank you for all your contributions, man.
Yeah, same thing, man. My condolences to his family and friends for their loss.
And here's a famous John Chaney quote. I'm going to tell my kids to punch your kid in the mouth. John Chaney was known for, a couple of things. There was the whole, what did they call it? Did they call it a goon at the time when they supposedly he sent a player on the court to foul someone and purposely or something like that, and the player got hurt. So John Chaney was he was good for the game. He was to me, he's one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game. He was hard nosed. He put a lot of players in the NBA. And a lot of his players have been speaking out since this happened and talked about, just how he helped mold them as men. So it's always tough, man. We lost John Chaney. We lost John Thompson.
Yeah.
It's we getting to that point where we seen some of the guys that, we kind of looked up to as youngsters watching college basketball. Yeah, that's what it was, Derek. Enforcer. They used the word enforcer. He sent an enforcer on the court. But we're starting to see some of these guys pass, man, and it's sad, man. It's a sad thing to see, man. But hopefully his name lives on, and we keep all of that going, man, and keeping his name in a positive light as one of the greatest coaches out there. So, fellas, man, great show as always. We ran a little long today. We had a bunch of topics to touch on. I actually skipped the topic because I knew it was going to run us even longer, but I'll save it for next week. As always, man, follow us on Twitter at OTR_pod, Instagram and Facebook at OTR_podcast. All of our individual tags are on there. We will follow you back. We also, I didn't add this, but follow us on Twitter, the OTR Sports Show at OTR Sports Pod. Look that up on Twitter. We're there too. And then you'll be able to start finding this show on its own platform. I think we are now on TuneIn. We waiting on Spotify and Apple and all the rest of them. They slacking for some reason. But this show will be there alongside Off the Record podcast as well. Also, follow Crossover Media at Crossover365 on all your social media platforms. And then also, we got to do the plug. Lakers Central 365 on all the social media platforms. And then also check out the Lakers Central podcast. It's doing big things. So check us out, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in. It was a long one. If you checking this out on YouTube, man, subscribe, man. Subscribe. We trying to get those numbers up a little bit over there too. So we appreciate y'all, man. As always, y'all. We out. Love y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.